on some basic shooting fundamentals. And the most important thing when we're shooting, before we even go to the basket, is going to be your footwork, so your base. So when you're shooting, you want your stance to be just about shoulder width apart, maybe even a little bit wider. You want to be low and athletic, have a little bend in your knees. And whichever hand is your shooting hand, you're going to want that foot. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have my right foot a little bit further in front than my left foot. I'm low, I'm balanced, so if someone were to push me right now, I wouldn't fall because I'm balanced. And this is where you want to shoot from. Good, and then with your hand, we always want to start with the seams of the ball, so these black lines. We say smiling at you, so like that. So I'm going to hold it out in my hand with the seams facing me. The first thing I want to do is just flip the ball in the air. Just a little bit, not too high. And I want it to spin just like this. Nice and easy. So you're going to want to point your fingers and follow through in the direction you want the ball to go and the direction you want it to spin. So do 10 of these right now. 3, 4, 5. Perfect spin every time. Good, then we'll do the same in your other hand, even though it's not your shooting hand. We'll do 10 on this side. Perfect rotation, you see how my ball's spinning. Perfect, so now we're going to take that same perfect form, perfect rotation, but we're going to put our arm up a little higher. You're just going to flip it up, hold it up here. If your hands are a little small or you can't keep the ball steady, you can put your other hand here, make sure it's there, then we push with one hand. Doesn't have to go really high, doesn't have to be perfect, but try and think about getting that ball spinning and it going just straight up in front of you. So do about 20 in your strong hand. So we can set it up, still with one hand, perfect spin. Perfect spin. Couple more. Good, we're gonna do, let's do 10 with your weaker hand. Same thing, it's gonna feel a little weird. Just push it up, just try and get that perfect spin. And the ball goes straight up ahead of you. You can set it up. Perfect spin. I'm gonna do 5 more. 2. Good, I'm going to do one more. Good, perfect spin. And when you're shooting, when we get on the basket, which we're about to do, you want to think about throwing your hand in the basket and following through exactly where you want it to go. And I always picture the ball just dropping straight over the front of the rim. So I look at the front of the rim and let my hand follow through like I was throwing it in the rim. Okay, so we're going to take that same exact form. We're going to put it on the basket with one hand, stroke shots. And generally, we're going to keep our stance nice and low, strong foot, shooting hand, side foot, just a little in front of the other, nice and balanced. And in general, you want to have your elbow pointed pretty much straight at the basket, but you also want it to feel natural. So for me, my elbow is a little bit out to my right side just because it feels like it doesn't go this way. So point the way you want it to go, but also you have to be comfortable. Okay, so now we're going to go one hand, perfect form shooting on this basket, we're gonna work on 5 spots. So this side, the other side, this wing side on the diagonals, and also from the top. Straight in, we're going for perfect swish shots, and we'll make 10 from each spot with our strong hand. So again, you can set it up with 2 hands, but we want this form with 1 hand. Perfect rotation. If you can swish them all, swish them all. Go other side, same thing, 10 makes. Perfect form, perfect rotation, not in a rush. And these are so good for your shooting form. If you want to be able to shoot threes or shoot from distance, these are what you want to practice. I still do these almost every day. Right, and when you make 10, just go to the next spot. These 5. Super close to the basket. I'm only about 1 step away. And if you're getting pretty good, you can see how many swishes you get in a row while you're going for 10 makes. Maybe you start going for 10 swishes in a row. I'm on my last spot, and one other tip that helps me sometimes is when I'm following through at the basket, I usually think about these 2 fingers being the guiding fingers that point at the rim. So last spot, 10 makes. More. Good. So once you've made those 50, now for fun, I always like to do my weaker hand, 1-hand strokes, just like we practiced in the air, but I'm going to make 5 from each of the 5 spots, from maybe 1 step away with my weaker hand. So you can still set it up with 2 hands, but shoot it with your other hand. 5 makes from each spot. And these might feel really weird at first, but it's really good for you, for your weak hand layups, weak hand finishes, for your floaters, and just hand control. Yeah, just think about throwing those 2 fingers over the rim.
Oh, wait, can we actually stop?
Okay. Good, and I'm doing these 5 spots in any order I feel like doing. It's really up to you, as long as you do them all. Last spot, 5 makes. Good. So I made 50 strong hand, perfect form 1-hand strokes. I made 25 weak hand, perfect form 1-hand strokes. Now the next step is we're going to add on our guide hand. So my right hand is my shooting hand. So my left hand is going to be my guide hand. So when I set it up here, my left hand is going to just guide the ball on the side. And it's not going to be helping me push it though. So it's never coming behind the ball. It's going to be, if you can see this, on the side. And I'm going to push up and follow through high together. So if we just do 10 right here in the air, set it up high. We're going to finish with both hands high, but I'm still primarily shooting it with my strong hand. So you still want that perfect rotation. Still follow through with that strong hand. Guide hand just going up on the side with it. And a tip to see if your guide hand is pushing the ball a little bit too much is to see if your rotation changes. So right here, it was very straight. I'm starting with it straight, it finishes straight. If my left hand gets a little too involved, it might start to turn a little bit. It's hard for me to even do it by accident. So let's say my thumb got involved. You can check your spin, and it should always be nice and straight. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the basket. We're going to go in our 5 spots again. This time we'll go 2 steps out from the basket. We're going to add on the guide hand and make 10 from 5 spots. Good. Your shooting hand is still the same motion. Your stance is still perfect. You can add a little jump if you need to. Whatever feels comfortable. Point that hand to the rim. Good, that's 10 there. I'm going to the other side. About 2 steps out. Nice and high. And both of your hands should be finishing nice and high on your follow through. Good, I got another spot over here. Good, both hands high. Right up on the other side. I got 2 more. Good. And again, we're in no rush. You can really take your time. Going for perfection here with your form. Oh, I missed one. I was short. Here we go. that was 10 from each spot. I might have lost count a couple times, but that's a great drill you can do anytime you have a basket and a ball. Take your time, and you can do more than that. It's so good for you. If you want to be a good shooter, this is the key to shoot from close. And if you find that you're not making them all in a row, don't panic, and you can help coach yourself. So if you've missed and you've hit the front of the rim maybe 2 or 3 times in a row, then you know you need to put a little extra height on it, maybe get a little more jump into your shot. And yeah, so play around. If you're missing long, maybe you need to have a little softer touch. So now we'll end with a quick game you can play called Around the World. So we're going to use our 5 spots, corner, corner, wing, wing, and top. And you've got to make 2 in a row from each spot to advance to the next one. So this time we will go in order. Around the horn. Okay, so I've got to make 2 in a row. So as an example, say I made 1 here. Now I've got to make this one to progress. Okay, I made 2. So now I'm on the next spot. Again, I've got to make 2 in a row. Okay, I made the first one. I made the second one. Okay, now I'm going to the middle. I made the first one. So your aim is to get all the way to the other side. Start again and all the way back. Without going all the way back to the beginning first. So that's Around the World, which is a really fun game. Another game you can play is going for 5 swishes in a row from each of the 5 spots. So that's more of a personal challenge. And then if you hit the rim on one of your shots or you miss, you're just on 0 and you're trying to get 5 from every spot. And then you work your way up. Soon you'll be making 10 swishes from each. Okay, so it's a fundamental shooting workout you can do anytime to shoot a basket.